Hello and welcome to Schuwing animation tutorial. So this is a blank project. I'm going to go ahead and drag a few of these files into the files bar. And this is a knight, so now we're going to go ahead and drag the body. He needs arms. His other arm. Here is legs, even though they're spelled wrong. His head. Spear should go in his hand. And the shield. Okay, so if I hold down Alt, I can scroll to zoom this out. And I can hold down Control to zoom the other way. If I hold both, I can zoom using the mouse wheel. So this looks kind of weird. I can select the body. Everything is inside, so I can hit scale, scale this down. And now I can start arranging things. So his head, move that up. Currently everything is on the same Z-plane, so it's hard to select. I can move his head forward though, and everything else his arm should be in front. His legs should be behind. So this is a spear, a hand. I'm hitting the G and R keys to grab and move these things. Actually, this spear looks like it's supposed to be in his right hand. And the shield looks like it's supposed to be in his left. So I'm just dragging these layers around. Then I'm hovering in the stage, hitting G, clicking and dragging. The shield actually looks like it should be forward. I want to make sure to do it in the container, not the anchor. The anchor basically controls the point's origin. So having an origin point that's not actually on the point, as opposed to an origin point that's right in the point, it can help you do things, because let's say this shoulder, we don't want it to rotate on his elbow. We'd want it to rotate up there at the top. So you can actually do that in the stage panel by clicking move and then holding down Alt, and that point will move. So we can just do it again, find the right spot. And almost got it. And actually, you can see the little point there as well, the little red dot. Okay, so just by holding Alt and moving this, now his shoulder's lined up. We can move that back. Make sure the container is actually on the Z level that's in front before I accidentally change the anchor. Yeah, you can change the anchor as well, and that'll make rotating that easier if you want to do that, so that the anchor can be actually on a different Z-plane than the origin of the object. But in our case, we want the container to be forward, Z to be a bit back, so we can still see the anchor. Go ahead and get that in the right spot. And actually looks like this is supposed to be behind as well, so we can move that behind him. Now we have the spear. can see the anchor there. Can move that up to his hand. So now it'll rotate on his hand. Just by using G and R, and sometimes the Alt key, I've been able to arrange these properly. The helmet, we did the same thing. Okay, there. Now you can see the anchor. We probably want his head to be anchored right around there where his neck is. Maybe a little bit to the left. So his legs. You can see the anchor again. Put it up near the hip. Obviously we want this left leg to be in front. Not in front of the shield, but in front of the rest. So now everything should be there. And we have a knight. But there are no animations yet. Can go ahead and save this just to make sure that you save your progress once in a while. So to actually get this animated, you could individually create animations here in the edit panel, and when you actually click it, it'll create a keyframe down here as well. I'm going to go ahead and delete these because there's a better way. So if you start somewhere like here at the beginning is usually a good idea. Just click the animating, and just want to go ahead and adjust it a little bit to create the keyframes. So every time I'm making an adjustment right now with animating on, it'll create the keyframe. So now if I go forward, move these a little bit again, and that spear actually looks like it's too far forward. But anyway, now you can see that it will animate between these two. You can run into a situation where if you move something and you had not created that keyframe, it won't animate, but you'll just have to go back here, and this is the head, it's the container position. We can just clear that by right clicking. The animation will always be the second one. So if we created one here, this would be the animation. This is the stock. This does not change throughout the time, but we don't need that. So we actually don't need his head to do that weird thing either. So I guess he can just point his spear threateningly. It looks like it's backwards. If we want him to point, we'd want him to start here and then point. So what we can do is hit B for box selection. It's the same tool that's right here. And then I just clicked and dragged, selected these points, and then the same G to move, otherwise known as grab. But instead of calling it move, we call it grab, because that's, you can use your left hand then to hit the G button. So whenever you box select, it'll continue to add to your selection unless you box click and box select and right click. So you can also hit the A button. If you hit A, it'll deselect anything that you have selected, and if you have nothing selected, it'll select everything. So that's kind of handy. If you hit A and then hit T, you can scale your entire project to be shorter or longer. So for now, we can make it a little longer and scroll up. So I'm going to box select, move these back, and we want them to go all the way. There's a feature here, left and right. If you're in a frame, it'll go to the previous or next keyframe. Or in a layer, I should say. So we're still animating. So we can just pose this to exactly how we want it. We can even move it a bit. And actually, I would like the spear to be behind his body, but in front of his arm. There we go. And maybe he can like duck his head a little bit to look a little threatening. So we could just, oh, this is actually Control Z to undo. The origin on here should be down near his pelvis, so we can, oops, G, Alt, move. That seemed to be a small bug. But that'll be fixed after I release this video. So for now I'm just gonna have to, oh, I believe it's not a bug actually. It's just because we're animating, and you shouldn't change origins while you're animating. Or it is a bug. So I just kind of moved him around, but it did move the origin, and it didn't mess up all of the children, which technically these are all relative to the origin as well, so it does save a lot of time to be able to alt click and change the origin. So we can go back in animating. Maybe he can lean forward a bit. And then we have to reset. Just by right clicking, it'll create a new animation frame just by editing this. I want to do that with his legs as well. And it looks like one of his legs just kind of goes up in a weird way, so I can move them back. The other option for these legs as well is to just take them out of the hierarchy. And that makes them huge. So the scale for this guy is 34. We can just do the same thing with legs. And get rid of the animations. The legs can just stand still. Okay, that's better. So click, go over to the right animation, and then let's fix it so that it's pointing straight. And what we can do here is make all these points at the exact same time by linking them here or there. Since I clicked on this one, here would be right here, there would be where the other ones are. So let's do where the other ones are. There. Hit A to deselect, B to box select, and we can link these as well. So now when I click one, I get all of them. So that's a pretty simple way to just animate a character to be threatening. You could have him do whatever you want, celebratory, just by raising his hand up. Probably doesn't need to do that. over, and maybe just, he could scratch his neck right here. I'm just going forward, moving some points, and now it kind of looks like he scratches, and he can put his arm back when he's done. That looked weird. This is one of those cases where we added something and there was no initial position. And is it still like that? Did we add something else? Oh, I see. The origin point for this. No, that's correct. Well, his arm should be up here. Okay, well that kind of looks like he's scratching. This could be a bit more forward. That looks weird. Just have to go fix these. Anyway, you can get in the finer details of animation, but this was mostly a tutorial to get used to the tools, some of the shortcuts, structuring your scene, and how to create points. And if you want to remove, you can just box select a bunch, right click, and remove either the one you clicked on or all of them. So that'll be the end of this tutorial, and we'll pick it up later.